Hello, everyone. So, 6 months ago, when I was relatively new to YouTube, I think I had been on there for a month. I was really good at doing 1 minute videos on Instagram because you have to learn how to be super concise with the information because you only have 60 seconds to share a multidimensional perspective. But nonetheless, I was new to doing longer videos on YouTube at the time. And I did a video that I titled Be a Dot. And I was jazzed about sharing this download that I had received that day, like I do now. Like I receive a download and I'll jump on and share what I received. Except there was something different about this one. When I uploaded it, the Nine said to me, "You cannot release this today." And I said, "What do you mean I cannot release this today?" And they said, "Well, we can't really tell you why, but just store it, save it, and then come back to it later on." So I did. And that's happened to me numerous times in my life, and I'm sure it has to you as well, where you are inspired to take action and then you receive higher guidance or inner guidance that you need to pump the brakes because it's not quite time yet. So, Be a Dot, the original video was just 50 minutes. It was just a very basic download I received, but I thought it was really cool. So it started off as like one page, figuratively speaking, and then it turned into like what could be a book. And obviously, it's not a book, but I'm speaking metaphorically in terms of how hefty the topic is. So every time, so I saved the video on my laptop and I thought nothing of it. I just kept going and I kept releasing videos. But every time I would think about Be a Dot, it was like a snowball rolling down a slope, and I would receive more and more and more information around it. So flash forward 6 months, okay, meaning this month, the Nine said to me about 2 weeks ago, "Be a Dot is your webinar. It's time." And I said, "Oh my God, that makes so much sense." And the webinar was extremely successful. I actually watched the original Be a Dot I did 6 months ago, and it doesn't even sound like what I talked about on the webinar. So if you end up grabbing a copy of the webinar on Vimeo, so you can go to vimeo.com/feelgoodlife, and then you'll find my webinars. It's the latest one. If you watch that webinar, you even will be, astonished to see how different the information is than the original video. I'm like, they don't even sound the same, but that's because I sat with the information 6 months and it kept building upon itself. So I had this really cool idea today that I would like to offer you guys a promo code for Be a Dot in the new year, which is just a day or two away. So I thought, why not release the original Be a Dot so that you can then compare how different they are. So I'm going to extend a promo code to you guys. I haven't generated it yet. I'll ask Rex to do that because he handles all that stuff. And check back in and see if it's up there. You can probably see on Instagram if we have a promo code for it, or maybe in the YouTube captions if I can get it done in time. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this very basic light version of Be a Dot that was recorded 6 months ago. And if you enjoy it, I would highly, highly suggest you get the webinar because that was like on another level. We went super, 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 super quantum. And so you're probably going to need a notebook for that one, to be honest. I love you guys, and I hope that you enjoy this original version of Be a Dot. Hello to all you amazing starseeds tuning into this today. Wow, we've been getting a lot of energies lately, and it's intensifying everything that we feel, everything that we hear or see with our third eye. It's incredible. These downloads that are streaming in are nonstop, you guys. I almost feel like I sometimes need someone to be with me to record everything that I say. But it is true that the more that you share, the more you receive. So I encourage all of you who are here doing the grid work, doing the healing work, doing the mediumship, all of that, to share as much information as you can, because we're not here to hold back. We're not in Atlantis. We're all here to unite and become one again. So yesterday I did a video on Instagram. It was a short 1 minute video. And I have to be very concise on those because it's only 60 seconds. But I'm going to elaborate on it today. I was talking about how I personally manifest and how I choose to live my life. I live my life as a dot. Okay, that's the visual I got this week. I live as a dot and not as a straight line. When you live as a straight line, you subjugate yourself to entanglement. You subjugate yourself to different timelines, and then you become entrapped in a way. So I'll give you guys an example. If someone says to me, and they say they live in Italy, and they say, Phil, do you think we're ever going to get to meet? Well, that question itself is not rooted in the now moment. It has to do with the future timeline. So I wouldn't be able to give them the answer that they seek, because it's not a part of my immediate reality. What's part of my immediate reality is this, or being on this video with you guys, or having my cup of coffee. That's what's part of my immediate reality. And then another example, which is a really good one, is if someone that I've just had dinner with says to me, hey Phil, we should do this again in a month from now. Well, I don't know, because that's not a part of my immediate reality. I really, really urge you guys to live in a state of empowered flow, because so many of us have a tendency to get overly entangled with other people, and then we find ourselves texting with a total stranger all day long. And just so you know, these entanglements have been designed to be distractions in our lives, to pop us out of the now moment, to pop us out of alignment, to pull us away from what's here right now, and to pull us away from the magic that resides within us. We truly are magical creatures, but it's a matter of becoming a dot. You have to become a dot. When you're a dot and you're not having all these different bombardments from different timelines, meaning if you know you have a plan with someone in a week, you might receive information from them thinking about it. Or if you're chatting with someone overseas and you've never met them, well, that's then inviting distortion in your field. The path of non-attachment and disentanglement is truly the way to open up the space to receive information. So the vision I got was like, you know those cartoons, or in those books, you see the characters having a thought bubble, like they're thinking, they're imagining. When you become a dot and you're not having to report to anyone anymore, or having to commit to plans, you can really start to work with your mind. You can start to work with the magic that's at your disposal, because there's so many of those higher frequencies that are available to us right now. And they want us to go inside, connect with them, communicate with them, and carve out what it is that we want to bring in to our realities. So it's almost like you're activating what you want from within through what you feel, through what it would feel like, okay? And then that creates this thought bubble. And this thought bubble is like a vibrational thought bubble that is comprised of your desires, that is comprised of things that have yet to be explored within you. It's comprised of the energy. You're not focused or affixed to the tangibility. You're not focused on the physical details. That's where we get caught up as humans sometimes. We get lost in the fantasy. We get lost in, this person needs to look this way. Oh, I know I'm going to be with this person overseas, or all of that. We get caught up in that, and that removes us from our now. It's really important to remain in a space of alignment if you want to become a seasoned manifester, a prime creator of your reality. That is imperative. A lot of people think you're going to go out there and get it, and you're not. What you're going to do is you're going to create it at the blueprint level within your mind, within your imagination. Your imagination is truly the portal to all these other dimensions. And you almost paint canvases up there, right? You're painting canvases in the astral realm of what you wish to experience without having the attachment to what that's going to look like. And because you've already constructed this structure, if you will, this bubble, if you will, then your physical reality has no choice but to conform to that. It has no choice but to set in as tangibility, as something that you can feel and touch and hear and see. So the imagination is truly the stargate. It is the stargate that moves us into other realities, from where we can then conjure up anything we wish. And whenever you conjure up what you want, I conjure up fire. That fire then sends a signal to my DNA. My DNA wakes up, and then because my DNA has awakened and activated, my external reality has to fit that mold. It has to fit into that bubble and set in as my physical reality. So I encourage you guys to live as a dot. Be a dot. Just be this floating bubble of energy that is not having to report to people or feeling this sense of obligation to do something when really when you come up to the event you may not want to do it at all. This has happened to me many times, and I got to a point where I was like, I need to stop planning things and organizing events, because by the time I get to the calendar date, I don't even want to do it anymore, because vibrationally I've shifted so much and my DNA has reconfigured itself so much that I'm not even the same person anymore. When you're a dot, so much is revealed to you. When you're a dot, you're also able to look into all these timelines. All right, you can receive the imprints, you can receive the visions, but you hold so much power within that if that person in Europe wants to see you, they will fly here to see you. That's the kind of power you have at your command. You are a magnetic being. But the magnetism can only amplify itself if you start to tune into the energy. We need to start working with our emotions, and rather than letting them drive us out of the now moment to go reach for something on the external world, we work with the emotion to increase our vibrational frequency, and as a result, things start to show up. Things start to arrive into our realities. This is truly the way to become a prime manifester, a creator or a co-creator with Source. And Source does not want us to go out and get something. It only wants us to do that if it prompts us to do so. But this is the other vision I got this morning, which I didn't have access to yesterday. The divine feminine, the feminine was suppressed for so many centuries. And it was almost like its power was stripped from the aggressive masculine, which was the older version of the masculine that needed to leverage itself by silencing women, by taking their power away. And so the masculine owes the feminine that power again. That's their power that they took from the feminine. So now that whether we're men or women, now that we're starting to give rise to the divine feminine, which is what's going to bring new earth here, which is what's going to anchor those higher dimensional codes, those cosmic frequencies, the new earth, the new crystalline matrix, it's the divine feminine that's responsible for bringing that in. The divine feminine is almost going to travel through all the old spinal cords, if you will, of the old masculine, and it's going to cleanse all of those old aggressive masculine energies away. But the thing is, the masculine is going to come to the feminine. It's going to come to the woman, all right, and this applies to men as well. It's going to gravitate to the woman to hand her back her power. So why should you get lost in a fantasy texting someone over and over again when they're supposed to come to you and hand you your power back? So that was the download I got today. It was really profound. We do not need to overly engage with these distractions. They were really set up from one viewpoint, they were set up by entities that want to keep you sedated. They were set up by the artificial time clock, which is the 12-month clock, the 12-month calendar, 60-minute clock. All these things are trapping systems. So be very aware as to what you make an agreement with. Don't shake hands with this fantasy future or even your past when it's already gone. It's not here anymore. Be a dot. The past doesn't have to exist. The future doesn't exist. If you practice this just for 1 week, I'm not saying that you need to commit to this the rest of your life. Practice, because, again, it's fun to organize things dependent on where we're vibrating. But I feel like right now the universe really wants us to be in full trust with it. And when you're a dot and you're not getting caught up in what might happen or all these different fanciful realities, that is truly living in full trust with your universe. We need to get to the point where even if your phone was on Do Not Disturb, and you were not really socializing, that everything that is meant to enter your life would still find a way to get there. Because you hold the charge of the divine feminine. The divine feminine is magnetic in origin. The divine feminine magnetizes things into her reality. And we need to start working with that energy for all of us. All of us. All right? Even the aggressive masculine needs to back off and start to connect to the divine feminine. This way he can heal. She or he or whatever. It can heal. Now, the sacred masculine is different than the aggressive masculine. The sacred masculine is the one who holds a space for his woman, who courts his woman, who makes her feel acknowledged, who sees her, who is like the father who would ensure that the wife has everything she needs, that the children are secure. He's the support. That's the sacred masculine. You're supporting everyone around you with an open heart. You're not infringing upon their free will. You're respecting them wholeheartedly. And you're that rock for them. That's the sacred masculine that both women and men hold. But right now, where we are in this process of evolution is we need to start in training with that divine feminine energy. So be a dot. Be a dot. You don't need to go out there and chase things. You know, the aggressive masculine used to chase things. I'm going to go get this power. I'm going to go get this. I'm going to go get that. And then fell asleep spiritually. It became zombified. It became sedated. And it has to repay its debt. So know that you hold all the power within to be able to have these things come to you. You don't have to go to them. They will come to you. And if you're in full trust with your universe, you're not going to waste your time texting with someone that you've never met. You're also not going to feel the need to plan things way ahead because you're truly content from within with what's here right now, and you know that that's ever changing. You know that your DNA is going through serious rewiring, through serious rebundling, through serious reconfiguring, and you want to be present with that. But when you start to overly enmesh yourself with other people or situations or other timelines, that can definitely manipulate your perception. It can hijack your timeline. It can hijack you as a being. It really can. It can hijack your perception, I should say. It distorts your field. All right? It almost pours like this. It pours pollution in your field. And because we don't have the tools yet to be able to track all these timelines and to track all these potentials and still remain grounded and anchored in the now, then it's highly advisable that we start living as a dot. Nothing else exists but right here, right now. You create from this moment. You work with your magic. You work with your energy. Being in the now doesn't mean you're cutting yourself off from source energy. If anything, you're plugging into source energy. And then you're able to work with your mind to jump into different levels or layers, right, into different realms of thought. But you never go outside to achieve things. Everything that you create within your thought bubble is going to act as a magnet to bring in exactly what you're intended to experience. So I hope this helps you guys. Be a dot. People on Instagram made me laugh yesterday because they were like, hashtag be a dot. And it's true, be a dot. Don't be a long line and then you have all these weeds wrap around you. Be present. Find contentment right here, right now. And know that if someone is meant to come to you, they will. The universe will nudge them. So yes, that's my message for today. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Sending you infinite love and light and blessings as always.